Hi guys, Rairyuu here. Halloween is getting yet another rerun in War of the Visions. I feel like it hasn't been that long since we last got those units, but since the TMR from Halloween Rairyuu and Little Leela as a unit are extremely important for players to have, especially if they want to be competitive in one way or another within War of the Visions, I'm kind of glad that they run them often. They had pretty terrible banners last time. I'm hoping they're going to get good ones this time, but at least it gives people some way of going for them if they want them. So today we'll take a look at the units, whether they're worth investing into right now in the face of all the other really great time-limited stuff that's coming up. And if you're not aware of what's coming up, I did a review of that a couple weeks ago, and I'll put the link to that in the description below, so you can go ahead and watch that. But you will need a bunch of Viz saved up for all the good stuff that's coming. So let's begin with Halloween and Little Leela. I think if you're thinking of the unit department, Little Leela is the one you want to go for. She is incredibly strong. She is actually used in competitive guild battle in some formations alongside Wind, and Wind has just got really good releases back to back to back. Like we have More the Merrier, who's great, we have June, we have Winter Luartha, and all these units together just keep increasing the value of Halloween Little Leela since she's both a support and an attacker in her own right. What she has for herself is a mix of great mobility, super long range, and high AoE, so she can hit enemies from very far away. I'm sure you've experienced that quite a bit. It is fairly easy to mitigate her damage though. She doesn't really have any good spirit penetration, and the one move that does have it is a single target move, so you're effectively shutting down most of Leela's damage if you're running high spirit on your team. And then magic resistance is also something that can work against her since she doesn't have a lot of penetration. So her damage can be mitigated, but unless you're built specifically to fight her, she'll still do crazy damage to your team. She is very hard to remove. The second you start hitting her, she goes down, but she can heal and revive and make sure your tank stays in front, which is quite annoying. And then in the manual scene, Leela is a monster because the way she can move across the map and keep hitting people and then run away or be quickened and keep spamming her spells is just crazy. Typically, mages with that kind of mobility are much more of a threat than physical units because they don't have to waste one turn generating AP or popping bails or anything. They can start hitting right from the get-go or use an offensive buff and then make sure that their initial burst is even stronger, and Little Leela has all of that. On the JP side, Sadali was just announced and he's going to be a Wind Mage. I think he's going to be a very strong unit, but I don't think he'll make Leela any less of a powerhouse. In fact, I think they'll probably be a good duo together, which further increases her value. So if you're thinking of a good unit that you want to get to make your Wind account stronger, this is definitely one that's great. And then bonus points because the Typhon VC, which is best in slot for her and the best Esper for her as well, in my opinion, is something that's in the general pool. So either you already have it or you have a chance to pull for it naturally. It's not something time limited you have to go for. So I would definitely recommend you at least consider her if you don't own her already. Then the second unit on the list is a little bit more lackluster. Typically, the more recent releases are stronger than older units. That is not the case, I think, for Halloween Fred. She is a very fun unit. I own her and I've played her a ton, and I've made her work in a lot of scenarios. But I think she is by no means better than Oberon or Noctis or Zazan the Unkillable, or even Katone, because they each have a very good staying power, and Earth is packed with really good units, which makes it very hard to fit Halloween Fred in one of those teams. She does have top tier evasion, and on top of that is a great evasion enabler. Her limit break blinds enemies, and then she has a move that decreases accuracies, and so she can really make the rest of your guys evade better. I've used her in rainbow evasion teams, and it was a lot of fun, even though rainbow teams are not that competitive. What I find about Fred though is that her damage is typically not that high, and you'll see on screen she does have high damage. That's because she has a lot of attack and she can hit really hard if she's hitting a target that doesn't have a lot of mitigation. So if she's not hitting a tank, she can reduce their defense and then deal crazy damage and basically one-punch people. But if she's hitting somebody with a high amount of defense or a high amount of slash resistance, then her damage severely goes down. She does have 40% defense penetration, which is good, but it's not enough to deal with somebody with like 60% defense penetration and barriers and etc. She doesn't really have the tools to kill tanks well. And then she is very squishy when she gets hit. So the second she meets even a Cloud, who's a lightning unit, will wreck the Earth Halloween Frederika because she can't dodge his hits. It is true that you can make her very bulky against magic and piercing attacks specifically if you want to build her that way, but a lot of other damage types are going to just kill her in one hit the second they land an attack, so you have to be very careful when using her. All in all, I don't think she's a very competitive unit. I haven't really seen her a lot in class matches or guild battles or even high-level arena, but she is a very fun unit to use with a well-rounded kit that can dash across the map and do a bunch of stuff. And then her TMR is nothing you need either. I've seen some play where the little bear, that's her TMR, it basically gives you the ability to add single target resistance down to any type of attack if you're using the TMR. The only scenario where I've seen that be good is in Raise, where you want to hit the max damage even earlier, so if nobody on your team has single target resistance down, and you're using some units that use single target attacks, then this piece of gear can help you reach the cap quicker on a chain and just deal more damage overall. Very niche use. I haven't been using it myself, but I know some people that had top scores in the guild battle raid, for example, used it to increase their damage. So yeah, I don't really recommend people go for her, but I do recommend they go for the other Earth unit in the winter banner, which is Halloween Rairyuu. As a unit, I personally own Halloween Rairyuu because I wanted his TMR, and I haven't built him after 99. I feel like he's lackluster in today's meta, but as his TMR is just one of the best in the game, if not the best in the game after Bells, and so it's definitely a must-get if you want to be competitive and have the spare Viz to go for it. So what this TMR does, if you're not aware, is it gives the unit using it re-raise, and it's one of the only ways of getting re-raise that's not Yuna or Aerith, so it's something that's super rare, and it's just incredibly impactful. The main reason I'm happy that I own this TMR is because it allows me to use some units that would otherwise not be viable at all. So a unit like Victora, who dies in a single hit against most enemies, becomes 10 times better when she can actually die once and then come back to life and start attacking. And there's a bunch of other units in the game that are very squishy, and just giving them this insurance policy that if they get hit for one reason or another, they still have a chance to keep doing something or maybe heal back and recover. So just for the TMR, it's entirely worth to get this guy. As a unit, he is an interesting case. He's got the Rune Knight job, which is a short-ish range job that deals crazy magic-based slash damage. So just like Scarlet Elena's damage, except he doesn't chain, he just hits very hard in a single attack. His damage is hard to mitigate. He's got some spirit penetration, and then he can do, he typically has very high mods on his move, which makes it so that he deals crazy damage. He can also break barriers, and then he has courage. He's got the ability to heal himself, so he's very self-sufficient. Why do I not like him that much? I feel like he just has a bad mix of range and damage. He doesn't chain, he doesn't do enough compared to all the other Earth powerhouses. If you don't own Oberon or Noctis or any of the other super strong Earth units, then he can be great. But I haven't really seen any of the competitive Earth teams that run him over the other choices. Also, the vision cards for the Earth element are very physical oriented, so it's very hard to equip one on him that's going to be super strong for him. He really has to run something that's going to be like Ramu or something different, which makes the rest of your Earth team a lot weaker if you're running him. So we've looked at all three. All in all, I think if you're going to spend Viz on this banner, you should first of all go for Halloween Rairyuu's TMR. The reason being, I don't think that's ever really going to be power crept. All that will be is some maps will remove re-raise and then you won't use it. But a TMR that has an ability like this will be useful basically forever in the game, in my opinion, and so you're investing into a very, very long-term value for your account. And then I would go for Halloween Little Leela, especially if you plan on playing Wind. It is making your Wind game a lot stronger just by owning her. Is she as important as Halloween Rairyuu's TMR? No, because I feel like it's more fun to have a TMR that enables you to play so many different units in different ways, instead of having one unit that you'll only run in some of your teams, and so it won't impact your account as much. Still though, if I had to give them rating, I would be like Halloween Rairyuu's TMR 10 out of 10, Halloween Little Leela 9.5 out of 10, so they're both rated very, very highly. And then Halloween Fred would be somewhere around 6 out of 10, where she's a very fun unit and she can bring a lot of enjoyment of the game, but she is not really useful for any competitive means. So unless you have the spare Viz to just build units for fun, then you probably should not go for her. And then the final word I want to say on this banner is these seasonal banners are rerunning fairly often. At the latest, we'll get these units back at the next Halloween, right? So it's not that long of a wait if you don't get them now. Whereas the other banners that are coming, we're going to get Final Fantasy VI, we're going to get Persona, and etc. We don't know when they're going to rerun. On the JP side, they're still waiting for the next Final Fantasy Tactics rerun, and it's been over a year. So if you go for the Halloween banners now, and then that forces you to skip these other more limited collaborations, you're probably shooting yourself in the knee and preventing yourself from improving your accounts. I think it's much better to get the stuff that we don't know when they're going to rerun over the seasonal stuff that's going to be coming back rather often. So definitely make sure you have enough to go for those other collaborations first, and then if you do, yeah, go for Halloween Rairyuu's TMR, go for Halloween Little Leela. They're all fantastic. Let's hope we get some really good banners. If there's a banner that gives you one of these units at level 99, it might be worth considering. I'll let that to your discretion. But let me know your intentions. I know a lot of players already have these units because they are so defining in their own ways. But if you don't, what's your consideration? Are you somehow interested in Halloween Fred? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day, guys.